Okay, so we're at 8Q level. Probably here. Because I think putting more emphasis on the 3/4 extension than the thickness extension is usually common, but it's fine. It doesn't matter that much. Okay. I would play either on the left side or I'd build my influence. If I was gonna build my influence, maybe a shoulder hit or just enclose the points. Or just play on the left side to like wedge or approach. This one doesn't make sense to me because you haven't enclosed the corner. Both are on the third line, so it doesn't make sense that this is the interesting side. So I think it's a little bit strange. Definitely wouldn't invade it here. I would. This is where the fourth line is. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the more interesting place to invade. So if I was going to invade, I'd invade here.
Okay.
Invading here, definitely attacks. But I would, if you're going to do that, and go here. Don't go for the center. When you invade, going for the center is the worst place because you don't have any extension for eye space. But if you go here, you have a 1-space jump to make eye space.
Okay.
Also, it's more pressure on K3. So don't invade in the center if you're going to invade. Honestly, I would probably just make my own position.
Okay.
It's probably fine. I think this is just too early, and also the wrong side. Just like earlier, watch your cutting points. What is your response if I try to cut? Now you have 2 weak groups.
Okay.
I think what you're looking for is probably this. This one works with DC stones while still approaching the corner a little bit.
See, I wasn't sure the correct follow-up here because I knew I wanted to try to take the corner, but I wasn't sure like if attaching directly was okay or not.
Yeah. The thing is, I think you lack the shape knowledge at 8Q to find this move. This one requires studying the Chinese opening, and I think it's more common to study this attachment probably past 5Q, honestly. So here, more basic. If I can't come up with anything, what do I want to do? More basic is I want to defend my line of stones. So I want to think defense, right? So I want to run away. So pushing from behind is usually not good. So can I jump? No, there's cutting points, right? So what about knight's move? Boom, 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 boom. There's cutting points. But this is honestly, that doesn't look bad at all. So probably you can do a knight
and just sacrifice the 2 stones.
Yeah, because it's too painful. And then if the jump, then peep. So
Okay.
maybe he peeps and then takes some points. But you can see you can run away. It's ugly, but it still does the job. And then from there, as we get stronger, we need to improve efficiency. So we start thinking, okay, can I poke this way instead, like pre-poke, and then still get the knight's move? And now I don't have that ugly empty triangle.
Right.
And then you add on one more step. Can I do any attachments or anything, and maybe a crosscut or something? But the whole purpose is defend your group by using the Aji so you can run away. And just you're trying to run away as fast as you can, as efficiently as you can, without giving white too much. And that's the idea. Like honestly, even like something like this is potentially something to consider, as long as it helps your group by using your opponent's Aji and using forcing moves. If you can't find anything, then just run away. Like just there's nothing else, then just run, right? But the point is play defense. That's what I don't like about this move, is I don't think you're thinking about defense. I think you're thinking white's getting too much, I need to be everywhere. But that's impossible. If you try to be everywhere without a good game plan, you're going to get cut apart and die. You're going to have too many problems.
That's kind of a theme in my games.
Yeah, so what I would focus on, this is a common thing that I say at single digit Q with my students is they get to single digit Q, they're like, okay, my opponents are faster now at making territory, and so if I just play basic double digit Q defense, then I'm not going to have enough territory. So they try to be faster by tanuking their weak groups. That's the incorrect way to do it. What you do is you don't just neglect defense to be faster, you just get faster at defending by using Aji. So you try to find your opponent's weaknesses and try to defend yourself more efficiently, more aggressively, but you don't ignore defense. So it's more like, instead of just saying like, I'm going to play basic defense, double digit Q is just don't die, right? But at single digit Q, if we just do that, we're not going to have enough territory. So we have to be efficient with our defense. But the common pitfall is efficient means tanuki. That's the misunderstanding. It doesn't mean tanuki. It just means use Aji to do it in Sente. And
Okay.
this is where like the common misconceptions or the common bad habits can come from is you start thinking, okay, I'm gonna do this, and this might be a good move for all I know, right? This might be a good move, but the concept is I'm using the forcing moves to help my two stones in this area without giving white too much. And as long as you understand that concept, then it's just a matter of reading. But if you don't understand that, then you could very easily fall into the trap of getting just cut off. And now you have two weak groups instead of one, and it's even harder for you to juggle.
Okay.
Um, yes. This is not the avalanche. This is just a bad move. You fix your cutting point. That's the move. Yeah, the avalanche is here. And in the avalanche, you Hane here. You don't Hane here. So honestly, the avalanche actually might be a good idea here. This actually might be good. Do you know the avalanche,
So
Joseki?
no, I actually have never studied Joseki.
Oh,
I
you're
have
gonna get
gotten
stuck if you
base.
don't.
Yeah.
I would say, don't even worry about ranking up right now. Start learning Joseki and opening patterns. I
Okay.
think buy a book on Joseki because
This has all been based off of me playing and just going, okay, here's what feels good, but
yeah, but why does it feel good? It's because of
right.
cutting points, bases, liberties, connections, efficiency. Feels good, right? But
Mhm.
Josekis are what feel good to pros, and they've researched it in depth, right? So Joseki is something you can literally study outside of the game. It's the only section of the game that repeats. So the opening is the only part of Go that repeats itself. So it's literally the only part that you can study with more time than any other part of the game because any other part of the game is unique. So it's more like you study theories, but in the opening you can study actual moves. And unfortunately, single digit Q is this is as far as you can get without learning Joseis. Like if you have good enough basics and habits of reading, you can probably get to as far as 5Q, maybe even 4Q. But if you don't know Joseki, you're gonna get stuck. And I would
Okay.
say it's better to not even worry about getting stuck in the future. I would just stop, learn them, and then learn the whatever I'm supposed to work on, which is like aggressive defense and blah blah blah. Because even if you learn aggressive defense, eventually you're gonna have to learn the Josekis, whether you come up with it on your own or you look it up. And it's a lot harder to come up with it on your own. It takes longer. So that's how a lot of you can get stuck. And that's also probably why this just doesn't make sense because you look like you're trying to connect while also still preventing the right. You need to just pick one. Because if you just focus on connecting, it's very easy to fix. But as soon as you go on the right, okay, then commit to the right. But trying to do both, that's what's going to get you in trouble. Now I could potentially go here or here and start thinking about cutting you, and I can read things and I can do whatever I want to you because you have such bad shape in my area. So it's very
Right.
dangerous for you. White's responses so far are kind of straightforward. That's overplay. This is the
Yeah.
only Aji that White has, so it's up to your creativeness to use this to gain shape. So the question is, if you're peeping the cut, that means you're going to fix the cut. So your goal for using Aji should be to help yourself. So if you play here and White plays here, and then you fixed, did this stone help your group?
Not at all.
So then don't play it, right? Just save the Aji
Yeah.
for later. Save the Aji for later. That's what we call Aji Keshi. All you're doing is making White stronger. You're fixing Aji for no benefit. If you don't know what the benefit is, don't touch the Aji. Save it, and it might come up later. But the stronger you make your opponent, the harder it's going to be for you. Yeah, White's moves are all kind of straightforward. I really like White's shape here. Oh my gosh, you're insane.
I am, yes.
Two-way
Um,
groups isn't good enough. We have to have three. Oh man.
this is
um I
I
don't
don't
I don't know how this is gonna work out for you. But honestly, I bet your middle game reading is like top notch for AQs. Because if your opening is all over the place, then your middle game has to be good. Otherwise, you wouldn't be the same level as Gone, right? So let's assume 8Q. They have 8Q opening, 8Q middle game, blah blah blah. So to have a worse than 8Q opening, you have to have a greater than 8Q middle game. So I bet your middle game is like really, really good. Um, Knight's move here, it has a cutting point, but the idea is you sacrifice one stone
okay.
to cut off these stones.
Right.
So it's faster, and the idea is lose one stone. But I like that you're watching the cutting points. I mean, that's progress that compared to this corner. Here definitely Knight's move though, because whenever you push from behind, you always want to think pushing from behind is bad, right? So
Right.
we want to think I want to jump ahead. I want to get ahead. It's faster. Like heck, I want to go like up here. It's faster, obviously. But why is this bad? It's because it gets cut. Okay, so how can we move without getting cut? This one has cutting points. Okay, so what about Knight's move? Does it have cutting points? This one is a ladder.
Okay.
So the idea is I want to move out as fast as I can without getting caught. And that in this case, a Knight's move does better than pushing from behind. Yeah, this is you kind of juggling back and forth. It looks like you're unsure of what to do. Honestly, I would be trying to do something like this. Jump is more common, but this is getting scary. So what about trying to fix here first before you attack Gun? Like if he goes here, you can do the same thing. You can just do that shape.
Yeah.
So I think it doesn't look it, but I think A might be weaker than B because A has a cutting point at C. In hindsight. Yeah,
Okay.
I completely understand how you play this move. It's very reasonable. But after Black escapes, if Black cuts right here, you want to save the stone, but now it looks really scary for you. So with this in hindsight, maybe trying to trade all of this first would be better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Because here these look like the correct moves. Jump is the normal shape, but these look like the correct moves. But this Atari looks really painful, and you don't want to just sacrifice it. Maybe sacrifice is possible, but that's really big, you know. So that's the only thing I've kind of seen for you. Like aside from K3, everything you've played is kind of what I would play.
GoNXaS was very ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe double honey. Yeah, but like I said, your middle game.
I do my mistakes as well.
This turn is super good. I guarantee you, River, it's because your middle game was probably much better than Gon's, and that's why you both average out at 8Q, right? But what I would prefer to see is all of your game being 8Q instead of one of your game, like your opening being like 10, 11Q and your middle game being like 5Q. I would prefer all of your game to be the same level and then just learn one thing at a time and move each thing up one rank, overall rank, right? Instead of like one just focusing on the middle game, like I think you've been doing, and your middle game's like really, really strong, but now your opening is like dragging you back and preventing you from having an even better result. So I would just focus on the weakest part of your game, opening and Joseki's. Tackle that, and I think it'll be a lot better. This turn is really big for white. I like this, but I like that you came with this cut. You used your opponent's Aji to help yourself. Now the question is, does it work?
No.
This is not big. You are not going to die in the corner. Your corner's absolutely alive. So you have A, B, and C. Which one is the weakest right now? On this turn, it changes. Every single turn, it changes.
I think I should have played like P13 or something.
I was looking at P14, but I haven't read it out. Like I'm not reading super in depth.
Let's take the. Oh yeah, huh?
Okay, so maybe you just because that just works. So maybe you have to trade. That's not a bad trade for black because you have like multiple weak groups, so it might not be bad to just settle one of them. This one looks like this. Empty triangle is usually not good. So my first instinct is this doesn't work, but with reading, maybe it does. So this is one bad thing about reviews is I don't have time to read it all out. But as long that's what I would look for. Something in here. That's what I want to see. You surrounding and you attacking that weak group while escaping with C and helping C and B. A does not need defense right now because it's completely alive. That's really good for white. Probably here though. Just take the liberty. But I really like that white White gets out here. Careful. Just keep your liberties. Hold on. Keep your liberties in mind, and you should be okay here. Liberties and cutting points. I should be specific. Liberties and cutting points, and you should be okay. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Yeah, definitely reading battle here. This one is too greedy. I think you can be cut, but this is a lot to balance. You guys made a really complex game.
We did.
Oopsie daisy. Yeah, so here, just all you need to think about for both sides is fix myself while keeping them cut. Fix while keeping them cut. Defense while keeping them weak. That's what you need to think. But as soon as you go for the kill, if you go for the kill with any sort of Aji, what's the first thing that they're going to look for? How to live. And there's no eyes, so the only way to live is through you. That's what they're going to look for. So if there's any opening in your shape when you go for that kill, you need to check it before you go for the kill, because that's what they're going to look for first thing. Yeah, it's super greedy. Just go here, and Black's dead, right? Maybe not.
Yeah, I could cut. Right? Complicated.
Can't squeeze it. Okay, I think Black actually has an advantage here. So yeah, I think this bamboo joint's wrong. Probably here. I think the liberty's important. That's complex. Okay, I understand how you arrived at this move now. If the connection just doesn't work, then yeah. But this also just doesn't work, so... Yeah, this one, I think you've got to see it at this point. So it looks like Gone, your reading can be improved. River.
Sure.
Yeah, I should not have played on that
Very,
side.
very unnecessary. Yeah, very unnecessary. Just run away. Actually, no, you have weak groups everywhere.
No, yeah. I take care of one of them soon, I promise.
It looks like the reason you don't die is because you're really good at living through your opponent, through your opponent's Aji, and that's actually one of your strengths. This is exactly what I thought. Is your middle game is probably really good. It's your opening. What? This one I don't understand.
Try to make a base for the group.
Okay, but bases are on
groups.
what line?
Third line.
Third. What I mean second.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't understand why you went second. Also, these 3 stones are dead, right?
Yeah.
So you have
Okay.
like Miai. So yeah, it's a very strange move.
Yeah, probably. I didn't notice it was second line.
I don't like this move because this says I'm defending my weak group. Why didn't you defend it on this turn? If you think it's weak, defend it. If you don't think it's weak, Tanuki. But you can't Tanuki and then come back and defend it, because that means you just gave your opponent a chance to attack you.
That's a very valid point.
Yeah, so it doesn't make sense that you Tanuki'd and then came back and defended. That's just, it's not consistent thinking. So okay, we are out of time for this one. So I think Gone. I think the opening with River was much more in your favor, but probably there's lots in the middle game with the cutting points and the reading that you can learn from this. So probably more Go problems and I don't know, maybe more Fox games. River, definitely work on the Josekis in the opening, because your middle game is clearly better than the opening. But the opening, you have 5 weak groups or something. So you make the game so hard for yourself, and it's just unnecessary to do that. So I would say find a way to just learn Josekis. I don't know, just learn Josekis and opening patterns, and then don't have 5 weak groups going into the middle game. And I guarantee you the game will be a lot easier for you in the middle.